Welcome to our dialogues about death with your host, Chris Miller. Hi, Chris.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Well, today's episode 5 is about leaving a legacy, and I think everyone is just kind of a buzz around town. That
Yeah.
last night you won an award. Tell us a little bit about that, Chris.
Yeah, last night I was honored by our Corona Chamber of Commerce as being Citizen of the Year. And it was quite an honor and quite humbling to be recognized amongst all the wonderful people we have in our community. It
Yes.
was kind of based upon like a kind of a lifetime of giving back and doing goodwill towards your community. So I was deeply touched.
That is awesome. Well, you totally deserve it. Everyone was saying, in fact, Bobby said himself, Bobby's the president of the chamber, that you should have won this award years ago. So it's all in God's timing. And I
Yep.
think it's just awesome that you're honored this way because you do give so much back to your community. So everybody, round of applause.
Thank you.
Yay! Just the beginning, just the beginning. I love it.
Sure.
Also, a little housekeeping. So again, today we're talking about Leave It Legacy, which is kind of coinciding with his award because this award is part of his legacy that he's
Yeah.
leaving for the community, for his family, and so we're just really excited about that. But again, housekeeping, if you are watching this today and you have any questions or if you have any ideas about how to leave a legacy, we're going to be going through a variety of topics today. But if you have ideas, we would love to share them on the screen. Not You're not going to be on, so don't worry. Just your comment. Or if you have any questions for Chris, because he loves answering questions live.
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
we really hope that you will do that. In fact, we have a live person right now, Kathy.
Morning,
Yay!
Kathy.
She was actually there
Welcome on
last
board.
night.
She was. Thank
That's
you.
awesome. Thank you for coming, Kathy. That was awesome. Well, of course you would come. You're a star employee. I love it. Oh my gosh, we have more people. Erica is here, of course.
Great.
And she's honored to be a part of the TMM team. I love
Thank you,
that.
Erica.
Awesome. So you guys are around people who are talking about their legacy all the time. So Kathy and Erica, if you have any ideas, please put them in the comments. And if anyone watching is thinking this might bless someone, we'd love for you to share it on your page or tag
Great.
people in the comments so they can see it maybe in the replay.
Yeah.
So let's get right into it, shall we?
You bet. You bet.
Awesome. You bet. I love it. So today we're talking about leaving a legacy. And let's just get in here and talk about different forms. So really, Chris, what is a legacy?
Well, a legacy is something you build over your lifetime. You know, it's something that you do little things in life, and so when people are just leaving their footprint upon their family, upon their friends, upon their community, it's just a time that you build those little moments in time uh, that touch other people, and those people remember those things. And so it's always about just spreading out the goodwill and making a difference in people's lives, and just setting an example that others can live by.
I love that. And I
Yeah,
think as
yeah,
people are thinking about, obviously there's death and taxes, right? We're all going to die
absolutely,
someday. And so we want to make sure that our remembrance is something of a positive nature, right? Sharing. So,
absolutely.
so what would you want someone to say at your funeral, right? That you were loved and loving, that you were generous and kind, and you made the world a
Yeah,
better place, right?
absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's all a lot about that. It's like I said, it's a lot of little things that accumulate over your lifetime. It's just not a one-time thing that you do. It's showing that compassion continually through time. So it's just not a moment in time. It's a whole lifespan. It's your whole life is a legacy.
I love that. And also Christine is visiting us. I love that.
Morning.
Yes. Congratulations, boss. That's such. I have to mention that. I only a few people were able to come last night, but your entire team is cheering for you, and
Yes,
you always brag about how amazing your staff is, and on
they
all
are.
the reviews you get, people rave about your staff. Say a little bit about the
They do.
legacy that your staff is leaving.
Well, and it's because of my staff, I'm able to do the things I do out in my community. They give me the freedom to develop my legacy, and they're part of my legacy because they support me. You know, the people I bring on to work here at my funeral home at Thomas Miller Mortuary, I instill values in them, and those are the values I'm looking for if they're giving back too. They're creating their own legacy. And that's why I love the people that work for me, is because they're compassionate. They love the people, serving the people every day within our community. And that builds my reputation because they're spreading just as much goodwill and friendship and love, and they just love to wrap their arms around the people we serve. And that's what makes me look good. It's really they're making me look good.
I love that.
Yeah,
Well, it's definitely a team sport, that's for
it
sure.
is. It is.
And that's awesome because in their way, they're building a legacy for their community and their family as well. They
Absolutely.
happen to work for you, but with their kindness and their love. In fact, I was speaking with one of your customers, I guess you would call them,
Yeah.
Smee Patel.
Yeah.
Her husband passed away about a year and a half ago, and she was raving about from the moment that your staff entered her home to come pick up her
Yeah.
husband, everything was like compassionate and caring and all the way through. And so I took a testimony right there from her on video, and I'm so
I
excited to
know.
share that. But that's the thing, Chris, that you've instilled a culture that
Exactly.
all these people, as these lovely people, are building their own legacy. So when they someday pass on, their family
Yep.
can say they made a difference in other people's
That's right.
lives.
I want them my staff goes home at home at night. I want them to feel good about what they do. And they do. They love touching the people in a way to help them get through the hardest times in their life, through their grief. And so that's an important thing. And my staff does a great job in doing that.
I love that. Well, we kind of touched upon this question, how do you leave a legacy? But let's dive a little bit deeper.
Sure.
Besides obviously living an amazing life, what are other ways that you can leave a legacy for your family, for your community?
Sure, there's a lot of ways. Sometimes people write their thoughts down, their memoirs. Sometimes people, with technology now, sometimes people are videotaping their legacy and they're recording it. Um, and there's hands-on of going out into the community and touching other people's lives. So there's multiple different ways of how you can leave your legacy. And again, the more you jot it down or record it, that's what will help perpetuate that legacy later on down the line. Because we're here only so long here on earth. And so it's about the people that you touch, the people that you influence over your lifetime. That means your legacy will live on for as long as those people are here. So the more people you can touch and then maybe pass on to other generations, your legacy will live on even longer.
I love that. That makes me think of, possibly writing a book
Absolutely.
or even just typing up something in your computer where you're like a diary. It could be a written diary. It doesn't ever have to be published. It could be something online. And as you said, it makes it so easy with technology. You can just record yourself, once a month, giving a recap of, people who've affected you or how you've affected people, just as something as a memory for your
Yeah.
grandchildren. Um, what are some other ways that people um, kind of do that you've seen in your practice, like that you've seen people do over the years
Sometimes
in a
people will
physical
leave.
way?
Sure. Sometimes people will do it in their craft. Sometimes people will do artwork, sculpturing. Sometimes people are great, like they repair cars and like do custom cars and stuff, where they love fishing and they make fishing lures, or the ladies that do knitting and crocheting. So they're leaving their legacy by arts and crafts that they do. So we have a lot of families when we're doing memorial services and things, they'll bring in some of their artwork or some of their items that they've created that they can pass down to other generations within their family. So that's kind of a cool thing also. And one thing I just want to go back to in regards to remembering your legacy is there are so many people that don't write those things down and don't record them. And we have families coming in all the time and we'll ask them to tell us their story, their loved one's story. And they're like, gosh, I can't recall. I don't know. So it is so important to write those things down and record them and put them down and let your family know where you're putting those things. Because, have a little shoebox or have a little safe in your house where all your important things are, and put those things aside. So someday when your family's going through them, they know where they're at. I was just last week, I was putting all my Christmas items away, and I was up in the attic and I was going through, and there was a box that said books. And I said, what's in this book? Because I'm having my 40th class reunion this year. So I go in there and I was looking for my old yearbooks and I couldn't find them anywhere. Then all of a sudden I went into the attic and said books. I opened it up and there they were in just this generic box in the attic. So I was kind of cool. It was like bringing back a time capsule. And, that's what a legacy kind of is. It's a time capsule of looking back into the past of all the things that you've done, and share them with those that are here in the present.
I love that concept. That's really cool. I know a lot of cities, they create a time capsule and they put
Yeah.
things in that the community has put together and then you find it. That's kind of fun. It's like
Yeah.
something that you can leave. I mean, we're talking about legacy today.
Yeah.
And you kind of touched on why leaving legacy is important
It is.
because not only is it makes it easier, so at the time of your passing that people can honor you even better, but
Yeah.
it's also a feeling of pride, I think, that,
Yeah.
when my mother passed away, we were able to pull up all the accomplishments that she made and the difference in lives. And people came to her funeral that were thanking us basically for having a mom like that. I'm like, well, we really didn't do anything, but thank you so much. But,
Yeah.
just hearing how she changed lives and
Yes.
made the world a better place. And I think
Yes.
that is something that sometimes we forget about with the hustle and bustle of, just got to get things done, make the money, pay the bills, take care of the
Yes.
children. I think that if we stop and think, what legacy do I want my children to be proud of?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I think
And
that's
that's
awesome.
and that's why it was so important for my kids to be there last night. It was so awesome that I had my son and my daughter there, and my mom and my sister and brother-in-law and some of the staff, and for them to support me, but also to hear from other people that they connected with last night at the event, and just hearing from other people of the things that I'd done. Not, it was just kind of cool. It was, and just reminiscing from other people in our community. It was just a good evening.
That's awesome. You went right into our next question, which was who are
Oh,
you leaving a legacy for? So you're
well, there we
brilliant.
go. Look at that.
Look at that. So it's true. Like tell us more about like what again, based on the stories from people who've
Sure,
been served at your funeral home. What
sure.
are some of the other things that people have said about who are they leaving it for?
Well, again, it's really important to leave it for your family, and then hopefully you instill those values of your legacy to your family. And that's why I've lived the life I have, is to pass it down to my kids, and my kids are starting to pick up the same type of things that I've done, and giving back to the community, volunteering their time, and that's what's important. And if we all, as a world, do that, if we all live just a good, loving, positive life, we pass down the legacy here of how we live. We pass it down to our children and our friends and our neighbors. It can really be infectious. And so that's why it's just not my family, but I try to instill some of those values with my staff at work. And so my family is just within my own family unit. But if I instill my legacy and values upon my staff, they can take that home to their family and to their kids. The way they live their life at work, they can take that home and pass that down to them. So it's kind of an infectious, and it kind of spreads out. So that's why it's important just not to leave your legacy for your family, but it's about touching those at your work and also within your community. Because if you're infectious and you leave that legacy within your community, other people will start to see that, and it will spread. And like I said, there were so many people up there on stage with me last night that have done so many amazing things with our community. We are blessed to live in the city of Corona. We have so many talented people leaving so much legacy. That's why I love this little community. It's a small town feeling in this town, even though we're a big city. We have so many wonderful people that are leaving legacies to make a difference from where we've been and into going into the future.
I love that. It's true. And what was nice is Bobby had all the past um, Citizen of the Years come up, stand behind you,
Yeah,
because really it's you're standing on the shoulders of giants,
yeah,
people who have made such a difference in this community, and you're just adding one more rock to that stack,
yeah,
right? Of
yeah,
of doing that. Tell us a little bit. You mentioned about your family and your community, but you recently went on a missions trip to Thailand, I believe. Can
yes.
you can you tell us a little bit about the legacy that that organization Sheer Love and you're being a
Sure.
part of it has had on that community?
Sure. So this past summer, I had the honor and privilege of going with my church to Thailand and Cambodia. And I've done so much here within my community. I still wanted to do more. I wanted to outreach and leave a legacy somewhere else around the world. And so I was able to go there and work with an organization called Sheer Love International in Thailand, where we were able to begin building small houses for young men and women that we're trying to remove from human trafficking, and giving them a skill and supporting them, getting them out of that bad situation, so then they can become either beauticians or barbers, and then they can stand on their own by having a trade and a skill without having to go into that bad situation. And then we're building these tiny homes, so then once they have a job and have sustainability of making money, that they can move into a home and have shelter, because those are some of the basic needs. And if we can give basic needs to people, it really helps them. And so I was honored to start building some little tiny homes there in Thailand, so then we can move some of these people out of those bad situations to change people here around the world. So I try to do it here in my community, but if I can touch people around the world, it will, like I said earlier, it'll be kind of infectious. And it's so wonderful seeing all aspects. When I was there in Thailand, I was able to see people in their bad situations, and then actually handing the keys over to somebody and giving them a little tiny home, and they don't know what to say. They're just so appreciative that you were able to give them this. And it's not we're just giving it to them. They have to, once we hand the keys over, they have to maintain it, and they do have to pay like a little stipend a year just to show some vested interest into it. But it's just an amazing thing seeing people that were broken and just pouring love and just positive energy into these people, and seeing them move to the next level. It's just infectious, and it just makes me feel wonderful.
That's awesome. So you're spreading your legacy across the world, which is
Absolutely.
the ripple effect of those actions, and not just you personally, but everyone on the team that came, everyone who's been in other groups
Yeah.
that have come, and we love Dinah Bautista that started Sheer Love, and she's
Yep.
making such talk about her legacy. My goodness.
Absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
she started with nothing, but she just had a calling to go over to that country and start something from scratch. So I'm just building upon something that she wanted with her dreams, and we've got more people going over there, and I'm planning on going over there a year from now. Next February, I'm planning on going February of 2025 to continue what I started last year.
Oh, that's
So I'm
wonderful.
looking forward to it.
I love
Yeah,
that. That's fantastic. And I know she's in multiple countries. She's in Africa and South America, and
South America.
yeah, so that's
Yeah,
exciting. Oh, we have some
yeah.
more people on. Mary says she's watching from the doctor's office. That is commitment. I love that. That is
All righty.
awesome.
Thanks.
And Becky is saying, well deserved. We're talking about your award last night, Citizen of the Year, which is
Morning.
wonderful.
Thank you.
And Mary is agreeing with you. Yes. About your, it came in when we were talking about legacy, which is awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks, you
Thank you.
guys, for coming on live. I love that. And if you have any ideas, again, and sorry, I'm a little stuffed up this morning. If you have any ideas about how to leave a legacy, or maybe things you've done, or maybe your grandparents or your parents did that you would like to share, we would love to share those with the world, because there's millions of people watching, Chris. Millions.
Yes. Yes, there are.
I love it. Okay, well, that brings us to our next question. Um, oh, well, we kind of touched a little bit about on this as well, but where can you leave a legacy? We just talked about Thailand. You left one there. Are
Yeah.
there other places that maybe people maybe they haven't thought about that you've witnessed of where someone can leave a legacy?
Boy, you can I think everywhere you go that you do that unique little thing, you're leaving your legacy. You're leaving it, like I said, you're leaving it around your home, you're leaving it around your community, you're leaving it at your church, you're leaving it at work, you're leaving it when you travel. When you mix and mingle with other people, when in your travels, wherever you travel, you're instilling your values of love and goodness to those people. And so I would say your legacy is as big as your reach. So as far as you can reach and as far as you can imagine and dream, your legacy will be spread out to that far. So don't think small. Your legacy is infinite. It really is. It can go beyond what you can even dream of. You just need to dream it.
I love that. We should put that on a shirt.
Yeah, we
That was
should.
good. Ooh, next marketing idea.
There we
Um,
go.
but I think it's true, and I think sometimes people get a little overwhelmed and think I have to do this giant legacy. But oh, we have Cece here, our dear friend.
Morning.
I love that. Hey, Cece. Yes, legacy. It's so true, and she is also building a legacy. She's in Riverside, California, as well, doing that. So yay, Cece. Um, but I think a lot of times people sometimes get intimidated that if they can't do something big, they're not going to do anything. But as you pointed out, it's the little things. It's smiling at a stranger. It's
That's right.
helping a child, helping an old lady across the street, that,
Absolutely. It's
right?
just showing kindness and love. It's just doing those little things every day, and that's what accumulates your legacy. So your legacy is one action at a time. Time, every day that you do things, you're spreading that out. So, like I mentioned earlier in the show, it's just not one moment in time. It's the whole time of your lifespan. So every day you get up, and as long as God gives you air in my lungs to breathe and legs to get out there and move, you're going to spread your legacy. And so take advantage of every day that you have. Get out there and make a change. And you might have had obstacles and difficulties throughout your life, but those are what build your character to grow your legacy too. So don't let those times in your life of struggle, those struggles have make you grow, and those opportunities are what can build your legacy to spread out to more people.
I love that. It's
Yeah,
so true. And just little things that
little
people
things.
maybe they think no one's even noticing, but that's people are. And we find that like on social media, that's a huge platform that you can get your message out to and saying
Yes.
positive things and being the one who people look forward to reading your post because they're uplifting and they're kind and they make them feel good, right? Because I think
Yes.
I butcher quotes all the time, but the woman who she is a poet, but she said it's not how people, and maybe somebody can help me in the comments if this person is. She starts with an M, and I'll butcher this the pronunciation. But she says it's not what you do for people or what you say, it's how you make people feel is how they're
Yeah.
going to remember you, right?
Yeah.
I'm butchering it.
Right.
But it's so true. And I
True.
think when you're bringing it back around to Thomas Miller, that's I think what your staff does so well is that it when someone passes, it's not what you say, right? It's just being there and
Yes.
being supportive. And would you have let's touch on that. It's not on the it's not on
No, no
the
problem.
list, but how do you feel like when someone passes away, what would be your advice of what to do? Because I think people always go, I don't know what to do. I don't go to funerals because I don't know what to say. What would you give
Sure.
someone advice?
Well, that's why I ask people, it's like when they want to come to us, we say, hey, if that's why we're here. We're here at Thomas Miller Mortuary. My staff is here for you to help you through that process, to build that legacy, and maybe to help you we're asking you those questions to bring the answers out because you may not have thought about those answers about the legacy of your family member. But when we're sitting around the table and we're saying, well, tell me a little bit about your mom or your dad. What things did they do in their life? Did they have hobbies? Did they have crafts? What organizations were they involved with? Where did they work? So we're asking them, and we're trying to help our families build a legacy. And and that's what makes us, I feel, unique, because our my staff is so caring and understanding and taking the time to work with the families that we serve. And that's what makes it unique. Every service and every funeral that we do should be unique to that individual person. And when we take the time with each and every family that we serve, every unique service will have its own legacy for that family. And so I think that's why we take the time and help those families build that tribute and that memorialization. So then they have something to remember in that final moment when we're getting together to celebrate that person's life and remember their legacy. We're here as a part of it at Thomas Miller Mortuary to help them maintain that legacy for their family.
I love that. That is so lovely. Mary actually had a great quote here that from Mother Teresa. We may not be able to do great things in this world, but we can do small things with great love.
Yes,
I love that.
absolutely.
It's so true. So there's nothing too small.
No.
Kathy also said a legacy of love. It's such a great concept, right?
Yes.
Because at the very least, I mean, love is the greatest of all things. We were told by the big guy.
Yep.
And so if you can just love one person and make a difference in one person's life, that
Yep.
definitely is a legacy. And your
And
Aunt
that,
Mo is watching.
wow, Mo. Morning,
Your
Mo. All the way out from Nebraska.
Nebraska. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Wow. Is it? Let us know, Aunt Mo. Is it snowing out there? Are you under 15 feet of snow? I don't know. In California,
Should
we're
be.
so spoiled.
Here you are.
Oh, and look at this, star of the show. Your daughter is here.
What amazing. Oh, thanks, Reagan. Thanks for tuning in.
Oh, that's awesome. Yes, I was sitting next to her and she was beaming with pride, Chris. She was
Yeah.
so proud of you
She
and all that
she
you've
has
done. And you,
a lot of values of her mother that she does. And so she is definitely, my daughter is definitely building and creating her own legacy.
I love that. Right. And she's building upon your and your wife's legacy and all the
Yeah,
experiences that you guys have had together. And I know you've traveled the world with your children and what an amazing legacy that is. I mean, all the
that's
memories that
right.
you've created. You had put a picture of you guys in Israel. You were
Yes.
sitting on a wall. What wall were you sitting on?
That wall is in the it's in the temple. It's Beth it's the baths of Bathsheba. It's where the
Oh,
seven pools were. The seven pools where in the Bible it talks about the crippled man laying by the pools. That's
yes.
where those pools were.
Wow.
Yeah,
That is so cool. Oh, and more reported in that it's a very foggy day.
it's
Thank
foggy.
you.
Well, at
It's
least it's not too cold and snowy.
right. Well, it's been foggy here. It's like we're in the same place. I love it.
Yep.
Connected. I love it. Okay, so we're coming to the end because
Yes,
we have covered so much today, Chris. I'm
you
talking
bet.
about leaving a legacy. And so if you're watching this the replay and you have an idea about a way that maybe your parent or family or friend has left a legacy or you are working on your legacy, we would love to see that and love to share that. But again, today's is episode 5. I wanted to give a heads up that we have our second, we're always trying to do it. Again, things always come up, right? Of course. But we're trying to do
Yep.
this show the first and third Friday of every month. And so the next one is on Friday the 16th. And so we hope people tune into that. And again, we name this Dialogues About Death because like, everybody dies. And I think people are a little bit scared of the subject. And I think if we can have an open dialogue about things that we've are thinking about or questions to
Yep.
ask, I think it's so helpful to people. Don't you find that, Chris?
Absolutely. Well, I'm looking for questions, so feel free to fill the chat room there and put questions. And again, over the coming weeks, we're going to have one day where it's just going to be miscellaneous. We're going to be all over the place with topics, but we want to address the questions that you guys have because it's all about
Yes.
you.
And
You
there's
know, I want to
nothing
make
too
sure that
weird. There's nothing too weird. Like
no,
we
nothing too weird.
I think a
If it
couple
gets too,
episodes. What?
I was gonna say if it gets too weird, I'll say you know what, that's just too weird.
I love it. But we talked about, I know this sounds silly, but taking the ew out of death because I think
Yeah.
people ask questions. We did a show just so you guys, whoever maybe you're just tuning in for the first time, we have 4 other episodes. We talked about cremation and what really happens.
Yep.
Like if you have an artificial limb or an implant or something, what really like what can you expect? I mean, we've done very interesting topics, I think. And last week we did a show on grieving or grief,
Yeah.
and so many people were touched by that and
Yeah.
shared it. So thank you,
Yeah.
Chris.
We had over like 160 views
I know,
throughout the week.
right?
It was amazing. I thought
And we're
that's
just starting
awesome.
up, which is awesome. It's
Yeah,
only going to grow. And we're
yeah,
actually going to be we're loading these shows up on YouTube as well. And so we're hoping that we can help more people answer their questions and just be
yeah.
available because, as we said, this is a show for Thomas Miller Mortuary, and Chris is the funeral director. And in fact, I should put your little title up here. There you go.
There we go.
And if you are looking to pre-plan your funeral, ask questions. There's no commitment. They're available in Corona, Riverside, and they
Online.
have a cremation service for all of Southern California. So they're the resource for you.
Yes.
All right. Is there anything else that you would like to end the show with?
No, I just, with closing here about legacy, and it's a word that I said last night. It's about spreading love and goodwill to everybody. If we can do that every day, of going around and just touching somebody's life and just maybe making eye contact or giving them a smile, you'll make a difference in somebody's life, and it'll help change the world to be a better place. So you guys all have a great week. Enjoy yourselves, and hopefully you all weather the storm well in the next coming days or so. So take care, and God bless you all.
All right. We'll see you guys on February 16th.
All right.
God bless you. Have a
Take
great day.
care. Bye
Bye.
bye.